the US president, has been very complimentary about the role played by Field Marshal Asim Munir. Who is he, and how much power does he have to steer the negotiation?
Yeah, I mean, very good question, Christian. Asim Munir is Field Marshal Asim Munir. He's the head of the armed forces here in Pakistan. He's been in that role since 2022. But in fact, last year, at the end of last year, there was an amendment made to Pakistan's constitution, and he was not only told that his title of Field Marshal, which was bestowed on him after the crisis between India and Pakistan in May of last year, was told that that title would be with him for life, but that also he was going to be given lifetime immunity from prosecution as well. Many people in Pakistan, or many observers of Pakistan, view the political system here as a hybrid system between both the civilian government and also the military that are involved. People have talked to me about it being a hand-in-glove form of operation. Now, exactly where they sit on that spectrum, how much of this is a civilian influence and how much of that is military, really fluctuates over the years. Many people saw that particular change as an indication that it's swinging more towards the military. And what's been really interesting is that President Trump seems to be paying very close attention to the military. While we do see that there is discussion about Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister, it is Asim Munir, his favourite Field Marshal. It was in fact Asim Munir who went to lunch first of all with President Trump last summer. So President Trump seems to have this close bond with the Field Marshal, rather than necessarily, although of course we do know that he's been involved in a lot of the negotiations, Pakistan's Prime Minister. Now, in terms of how much sway Munir actually has over these forms of discussions, without being in the room, obviously it's very difficult to know. But again, where does Pakistan sit on this spectrum? We know it's not going to be at the one end of the spectrum where it can actually strong-arm the US or Iran into a deal. It has not got that level of power. No one suggests it does. The other end of the spectrum is that it just passes messages between the two. Or is it somewhere in between, where it is shaping those messages, where it is trying to encourage both sides to come to the table and find something that is more palatable to the other side? Well, I spoke to a source here in Pakistan late last night who, at the time, we hadn't heard that there would be a ceasefire, and they told me that there was still this discussion ongoing, that they were continuing apace, and they also talked about the fact that this was a very small circle here in Pakistan that are involved in these discussions, that are involved in this back and forth. We don't know exactly who those individuals were, but the assumption, of course, is that the Field Marshal Asim Munir will be involved in it, that Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister, will be involved in it. So unless you're in the room, it's really difficult to know quite how much influence Munir seems to have over President Trump and his perception of the relationship and what Iran is offering as well.
It's one of the more intriguing parts of the negotiation, this, Liz, because it's been the Qataris who've been the middlemen in this negotiation with Iran to this point. But of course, Pakistan has a long border with Iran, gets a lot of its oil from Iran, and it's returning in some ways to the role it played in the 1970s when it helped broker that rapprochement between the United States and China.
Yes, it's a very complicated relationship. There's a very close personal relationship between Asim Munir and President Trump, as Kerry has just been outlined it. It's also been strengthened by the buying of cryptocurrency. There's now reports in the New York Times they bought a hotel together, so they're in business together, which of course is what President Trump likes to do. So like leaders the world over, the leaders of Pakistan have been trying to figure out how to get President Trump on side. Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister, was very quick to join the Board of Peace. And when the war started dragging on and there was a need for mediators to emerge, the Gulf states were so furious with Iran that they just stepped back. They thought, we're engaged in self-defense. So this is why countries which were not in the direct line of fire, Turkey, Egypt, Pakistan, came to the fore. And again, as Kerry said, Pakistan seemed to be a natural fit. And because of what was said to be a personal relationship between Asim Munir and the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament when he was a top commander in the IRGC, so a military-to-military contact, he was able, we don't know how he picked because of the digital difficulties now, or the communications difficulties with Iran, he was able to talk to his Iranian counterpart. And similarly, Shehbaz Sharif, the Pakistani Prime Minister, said he had an hour-long conversation with the President of Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian. So they've used their personal contacts, their brotherly relations, Islamic nations. So there's a lot going for Pakistan's role. But there needs to be people It's hard to do real diplomacy without experienced diplomats.
I've just been sent a message reporting from the FT that the White House pushed Pakistan to broker this temporary ceasefire. So it is very likely that those personal relations played a part in it.
And China is said to have played a role. President Trump confirmed that this morning.
Which I think perhaps the biggest winners out of all of this.